In today's economy, more people than ever are looking to buy and sell businesses. But how do you do it? Welcome to the Deal Board, presented by Transworld Business Advisors. Straight talk about real deals and real people. Listen to stories, interviews, and expert advice to help your business sale, merger, or acquisition process. Now, here are your business exit experts, Andy and Jessica.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. And here we are, part 2 of our veteran show. And we have some great guests and some more great resources for everyone to tap into if you're a veteran. And even if you're not a veteran, it's a great show to listen to. There's so much out there for people that have served. And we have some great guests, right, Jess?
Yeah, we've got some great guests kind of continuing from part 1 of our last episode of some great resources. Chris Cantwell from my office actually interviewed Rosy McDonough as part of that veterans conference that went on with the SBDC. But Rosy's the director of the Minority Business Office in Colorado. And what they do is they provide support to minority business owners and also veterans, but they have a whole host of services, everything from consulting and mentor programs to helping you get your certifications for working with the government, lending resources. So she talks a little bit about her role with the Minority Business Office and how it can be helpful for beginning entrepreneurs.
And I interview Amanda Bainton from MOAA and the Military Officers Association of America. And MOAA is the nation's largest and most influential association of military officers. But actually, you could be a member if you've served on at any level. But they're a powerful force, obviously. And they run an annual event for veterans in Washington, D.C., which is September. I have to listen to it later. It'll tell you the exact date. But MOAA is a great organization in the D.C. area that advocates for veterans, and she's got a lot of great information about services that are available.
Yeah, I mean, both great interviews. And also, if you haven't listened to part 1 of this episode yet of veteran-owned businesses, go back and listen to that one as well. There's a ton of great content, but hopefully between these two, you get an understanding of what resources are available and also any opportunities that lie in the market.
Yeah, great. And I think we should just get right to it.
Yeah, let's jump in.
Transworld Business Advisors is the world's largest business brokerage and mergers and acquisitions firm with over 500 brokers in nearly 200 offices worldwide. Transworld's team handles thousands of business sales every year. To be connected with a qualified business broker or learn more about the buying and selling process, visit tworld.com/the deal board or call 888-719-9098.
Hi, this is Chris Cantwell, broker with Transworld Business Advisors in Colorado. And I am here with Rosy McDonough, who is with the Minority Business Office of Colorado. And I'm going to ask her a few questions about what her company, what her business does, and how she helps entrepreneurs and veterans. So, Rosy, thanks for joining us today. What is the entrepreneurial community like for veterans today?
Hi, thank you, Chris. Well, there's a lot of opportunities for veteran-owned companies throughout the nation, but here in Colorado, the Colorado Minority Business Office is a support organization that can help veterans basically get certified at the federal level through the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, and basically get certified as veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned small business. And they can also explore the world of obtaining contracts with the government, with government agencies. Government agencies, as you know, can be federal, state, municipal, but there's a lot of opportunities for veteran-owned businesses expanding their area of revenue in that realm.
Okay, great. That's great information. What does the Minority Business Office of Colorado do to really help them develop as entrepreneurs?
So we do a variety of things. We provide no-cost consulting, which is called technical assistance. So any veteran-owned company can tab on our consulting team, and they can talk to them about all kinds of different things. So finance, legal, marketing, they can talk about HR, different issues that arise in the business. So free consulting is the first one. The second one is we also create a lot of networking opportunities for them. So this Veterans Conference that you're in today, we partially sponsor. And then we also create some other ones that are government contracting, where we bring government agencies and we do one-on-ones or corporate roundtables with those organizations. So the veteran has a face and a person to call on when there's an opportunity.
Fantastic. That's awesome to hear. What about things that are in the works or future resources that you may be working on to kind of fill some of the gaps that you see out there? And maybe what are those gaps that the Minority Business Office can focus on?
Projects that we have basically always encompass the veteran community. We rely a lot on the SBDC network for our presence statewide. So the SBDC network has 15 offices, and every single one of those offices has different events that are geared towards the veteran community. And what we do is we participate in those, and then also there is something in the works that is basically remote consulting. So let's say a person is in Durango, right? And there's a veteran-owned company that is in technology. And Durango is not going to have the specific consultant that person can draw on, for their expertise. But we are creating basically a virtual networking capability so that veteran or that company can talk to a consultant in Boulder, because we have the technology consultants mostly located in Boulder or the Denver metro area. But those are some of the things that we're working on.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. What about any final advice that you have for current or maybe future small business veteran entrepreneurs?
Of course. So you and I were talking before, but for me, exploring the government contracting world is opening a new revenue stream in your business model. So you can maybe selling B2B, business to business, B2C, business to consumer. B2G is business to government. And what that can create is the diversity that you need for your company to be very stable. And it may start like a little drop, right, that falls in the bucket, and then all of a sudden it's like a big stream of water coming in. So it's just a matter of developing, but exploring government contracting and those opportunities for veteran-owned businesses is incredible.
Rosy, thank you for your time. Let us know what the best ways are for business owners and veterans and minority business owners to get in touch with you.
Thank you. So yes, we have a website. It's www.mbocolorado.com. M as in Mary, B as in boy, O as in Oscar, Colorado.com. And what you can do is under the certifications tab there, you can request free consulting. And that's a fantastic way to get in touch with us. Also, our phone number is 303-892-3840. And we are located in Denver, but as I said, we have a statewide network that can support us. So anywhere you are in the state, we can help you.
Rosy, thank you for your time.
Hey, Andy, you know what time I think it is? I think it's time to talk about our deal of the week.
Deal of the week.
Joining us for our deal of the week this week is Al Fialkovich, Managing Director of Transworld Rocky Mountain, and he has a deal story to share with us on a recently closed business that was owned by a veteran. Al, welcome back to the show.
Jessica, thank you for having me. This is Al Fialkovich with Transworld in Colorado. So the deal I'm going to talk about today is a moving company that was up in Summit County. And unfortunately, the owners had some personal things. They had a child pass away. So it was a pretty delicate situation, and we got called in to help them sell the business. And we found a really good buyer that was a West Point graduate that did the corporate thing for a very, very long time. And he's basically finding veterans, putting them in the COO position after he stabilizes the business and puts all the systems and processes in place, and then buying other ones and then giving them a piece of the equity, or them buying into the equity and running the business and moving on.
Sounds like an interesting structure, and one we've seen a couple different firms do now where, they're not just veterans purchasing businesses, but they're also creating more jobs for veterans returning. So it sounds like a really good structure. Tell us a little bit more about the numbers in the business. What did it sell for? What was it worth? All that stuff.
So the SDE was around 250,000. The final sale price was around 600K, and we had an SBA loan lined up. However, due to tax implications for the sellers and the purchaser had a fair amount of real estate assets with no debt on them, so we were able to tranche out some seller notes and just did some cash and then some delayed carry to help them with their taxes.
Sounds like a good deal. And yeah, sometimes the seller financing is a better option for sellers and for buyers than the SBA loans. So it sounds like it was a great deal. Thank you again, Al, for joining us and sharing that.
Thank you for having me, Jessica.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. And today we have a very special guest, Amanda Bainton, and she is the executive director of the MOAA Foundation. And if you don't know MOAA, they are the Military Officers Association of America, and she's been there for 10 years, and she's been involved with small business administration. She could explain a little bit more about that in her background. But welcome, Amanda, and tell us, what's happening out there in the world, in the veteran world, as far as, getting them to be great entrepreneurs.
Hi, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I could talk all day probably about veterans and employment, but, I think, actually, it's not that I think, statistics show that veterans are disproportionately more successful than their civilian counterparts in small business ownership. And I think there are many reasons why that is.
Sure.
As you know, military service really lends itself to some of the discipline that you would need to be successful in business. And so there are quite a few veteran-owned small businesses out there already. We're talking over 2.5 million small businesses in the
Wow.
U.S. are owned by veterans, and they employ over 5.5 million people and bring in over $1 trillion. So we're not talking an insignificant number. And so they're not only contributing, they were contributing prior to owning a business, but they're also giving back to their country and our economy well after they've served. So it's a positive thing.
Yeah, it's great. And, a lot of small business owners love working with veterans. Obviously, like you said, they're disciplined. They could follow instructions. They're independent. They could work. They're hard workers. So I've been involved with Mission United, and we were talking a little bit about that beforehand. And we see all these veterans coming back over the last few years, and they're looking for opportunities. And so why don't we talk a little bit about, MOAA, the opportunities for them there to leverage your organization to help them get educated and buy businesses or, lending. So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Okay. Well, for those who don't understand what MOAA does, we're primarily focused on advocacy, which is just a nice word for lobbying, but we lobby for military personnel benefits on Capitol Hill, protecting the benefits that are promised to those who serve, not only while they're serving, but after, making sure they're getting pay raises, their families are being taken care of. But we also look at quality of life issues and try to offer services to enhance the lifestyle for those who are currently serving or have served or retired. And so one of those, of course, you can imagine the most important thing to most families is going to be finance and
Sure.
money and your career. And so, making sure that we have something to offer those families and not necessarily, you wouldn't come to MOAA to try to get access to capital per se, but we like to serve as a resource. We can connect you to the resources you're looking for. We are a membership organization. We have over 350,000 members, and you must be a commissioned officer to be eligible for membership. And so if you are eligible for membership, obviously I encourage you to join. It's a very low annual fee. But if you're not, one thing we believe strongly is that as officers, we're supposed to be taking care of the entire country. and the entire service. And so most of our services that fall under our foundation are open to everyone. And we do some similar things, which relate to financial education and connecting you to the right people if you want to start your own business, regardless of your rank or your branch or your service. So we think it's important to take care of the entire service, and that's something that MOAA stands by and will continue to do so. So you can look to MOAA for resources, and we can point you in the right direction.
That's great. And let's talk about a little bit, about small business owners, and you gave us the numbers, which is incredible. And let's talk about the opportunities that there might be out there. You said a lot of veterans wind up starting small businesses, so that's great.
Yeah, as far as what we see, which might be a little different than your average civilian population, is veterans, I believe, and don't quote me entirely on this, I remember the number being around 85% are starting their business themselves, and they're not looking to, or they have not made the decision to purchase a business or a franchise necessarily.
Right.
And I say franchise loosely. You can still consider someone starting their business. Even if it is a franchise, it's just the business wasn't already in place before. So, but it is an opportunity. I think that I'm not sure why they're less likely to purchase a business and take over versus starting their own, but it definitely presents some interesting options. But what I would say is the opportunity there is that military folks, if you've served, you understand better than anyone how to execute a mission. And if you already have a business plan in place and this is similar to that franchise model, you can give a veteran that business model, especially in the franchise type of situation, and they can execute it. And that's usually what we've heard and seen, when businesses fail, it's because they're not following the business plan.
Sure.
And that is one of the main reasons veterans are more successful as business owners, is because they can follow the plan. And especially when it's a plan that, like in the franchise industry, proven successful.
Yeah. And so we've seen, we know that the reason why people don't buy businesses or they just don't know about the opportunity. So that's why we do this podcast, to help educate people. So that's great. So, to all the veterans out there, hey, consider buying a business, because I've done both. I've started businesses from scratch and I've bought businesses, and it's a lot easier to buy them because, there's goodwill already. There's people coming to the door. There's cash flow. So there's a lot of great things. And there are a lot of great opportunities for military veterans to get financing through the SBA, correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think one of the reasons veterans are reluctant to start a business usually is because they experience challenges finding access to capital. But most don't know all of the resources that are available. I highly encourage everyone to look at the Small Business Administration website as well as VA website, looking at what veteran-owned small businesses have available to them as far as access to capital. Places like Street Shares too. Again, no endorsements here. I'm not getting paid to say these things, but just in my experience, there are a lot of resources out there, not only on the access to capital side, but education side. So, veteran business outreach centers are located throughout the country, and that's operated through the Small Business Administration. They'll walk you through business ownership and tips and education and things that you would need that most people don't get access to. These things are all set up to support veteran small businesses. Incubator space, business spaces, bunker labs is another example. If you need office space, that's a great place to go through. They also offer education services. And then Boots to Business, this is offered through when you're going through the transition assistance program, and military folks would understand this, but you have the option to almost take you have to go with the regular curriculum, but you can take almost like an elective style course. And one of them is called Boots to Business, and it's all about starting your own business. If you've already gone out of the service, it's called Reboot, and that's open to you and your spouse as well. So definitely encourage people to take advantage of those resources. get access to capital, get the information, and then you'll be well informed and therefore hopefully more successful when you decide to take the leap.
Yeah. And another resource, and we were talking about this, is veterans make great franchisees because they can follow directions and they can execute on a business plan. So there are opportunities out there for veterans to get discounts with franchisors, right?
Absolutely. I think, one of the important things to look at is most veteran small business owners are over the age of 55, which is not comparable to just your average civilian business ownership. And this tells us a few things, at least I've interpreted it this way, and I think quite a few people might agree. Aside from the access to capital issue, it's the uncertainty and the risk in starting a business.
Sure.
There's not a whole lot of risk. There's a lot of risk in the military, but everything's calculated. They're not just throwing caution to the wind when they're out there on a mission. And so they treat business the same way as they should. But that also could be a reason they're more successful. And so when you're looking at mitigating that risk, a really fantastic option is going with a franchise model. The business plan is already there. You can, and not only that, the business plan is there. Veterans are great at executing business plans, but you have the backing of the larger franchisor with, depending on obviously the model,
Sure.
But you have their backing and their support and their guidance. They've been there, they've done this, they're there for you. So that mitigates some of the risk. But also, there's a lot of programs and a lot of franchisors who offer significant discounts to veterans if they want to start a franchise with their group. And a lot of that you can find through VetFran, which is a part of the International Franchise Association. And I know we talked about this earlier, but VetFran does a really good job of, number one, walking you as a veteran through this process, trying to find the right franchise for you. But they also do a great job reaching out to these big franchisors and getting them to sign on to offer veterans their very best deal if they were to purchase a franchise, which we think is great. Obviously, you still have to do the homework. You have to make sure you're picking the right model for you. But we have found that veterans have been very successful in the franchise world.
Yeah, and I know from hiring veterans myself, they're great employees and they are great. They are great franchisees as well. And Transworld is one of those VetFran discounted franchises. We will absolutely help a veteran start a Transworld franchise. And I know my partner company, United Franchise Group, offers the same through their brand Sinorama and Fully Promoted and other brands. So
that's great.
Yeah, it is great. So to kind of wrap this up, how best to get in touch with MOAA, and if somebody wants to become a member or somebody, should be a member, what's the best way to get in contact?
Yes. Just visit our website, www.moaa.org. So MOAA.org. And that will show, it'll show you all of our priorities, who we are as an organization. You'll have the opportunity to sign up as a member. If you're not eligible for membership, we have a MOAA subsidiary called Voices for America's Troops, which anyone is eligible to join. And it's voicesforamericastroops.com or .org. And then also, if you are interested in contributing to any of these efforts that fall under our foundation, you can visit www.moaa.org/foundation. And of course, we appreciate any contributions and support.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda, for coming on today and explaining all the opportunities out there and all the support that you give veterans. Thank you so much for that. We certainly honor that. So thanks for coming on.
And if I could mention just one thing, I completely forgot. We also host an annual event every year. The MOAA Foundation does. It's at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And it's a military and veteran networking forum. It's invite only, but you'll see the information on our website, essentially bringing together not only military-friendly employers, But we have a whole hall dedicated to entrepreneurship resources and information for veterans or transitioning service members and military spouses looking to start their own business. So anyone out there interested in attending, just visit our website and contact someone from our member service center. We'd love to have you.
Wow. We need to get there. What a great opportunity, and what a location, what a venue. That's an amazing place. So
it really is. We're very fortunate.
Okay. Well, thanks again for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Hey, Jessica, you know what time it is?
Money time?
Almost. It's time for listing of the week.
Welcome back, everybody. And our listing of the week today is brought to us by the president and owner of the Transworld Business Advisors of Richland Hills, which is a suburb of Dallas, George Albright. George, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Jessica. Happy to have you.
So tell us a little bit. I know you have a bike shop for sale that is veteran owned. Tell us a little bit about this business.
Absolutely. 22-year military veteran. He has a great motorcycle service shop in the Arlington, Texas area. He's owned it since 1996. The nice thing about this particular service business is that he's open on Saturdays. It drives a lot of business sales because it is open on the weekend, and a lot of the hobby bikers and those who enjoy getting out on the road can come on the weekend and get service parts, any type of accessories, and get their bikes serviced.
Great. Sounds awesome. And I think we were talking before, he offers veterans a discount as well for his services, correct?
Absolutely. As a veteran himself, he likes to pass on a 10% discount. He does that on parts only, not on labor or service. They do have to show a valid and current military ID or a VA card, which entitles them to grab that discount.
Well, it's a great benefit, especially for the veterans. So tell us about the numbers. What's the business listed for? How much money does it make? Things that, somebody interested in buying a business would want to know.
Absolutely. We have it listed at $430,000. Discretionary earnings around $85,000 to $90,000. Total sales, give or take, around the $350,000 area. And I believe their FF&E is $145,000, and actually the assets in the inventory, which include a lot of the parts, we're just now getting that together. He's been working very hard to come up with an inventory list and a number. As you would probably understand, a service industry like this has quite a bit of inventory.
Right. And moving inventory, right? Because he's still doing all the work. But it sounds like a really good deal. It's an attractive business, somebody wanting to get into that industry or into that area. So, George, if someone listening is interested in learning more about this business or businesses in the area of Texas that you're in, how is the best way to contact you?
Absolutely. They can give us a direct call to our office number located in Fort Worth, 844-735-2249. Press 1 for myself if you're a seller. Press 2 if you're a buyer, and we can capture that information and give you a direct call back. Also, I can be reached directly by email at galbright@fialworld.com.
Awesome. And we'll drop those into the show notes for the listeners as well. George, thank you so much for joining us on the Deal Board today.
Absolutely, Jessica. You have a great day, ma'am.
Thanks for tuning into our show today. If you like the podcast, don't forget to subscribe through your favorite podcasting app and leave us a review. If you have questions or suggestions for the show, visit us at tworld/thedealboard or email us at thedealboard@tworld.com.